Hey y'all, this is Mickey, and we are here for Feed the Body, and we have the incomparable Jason Jett.
What up? What's
How
happening?
are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I am good.
Yeah,
So, it's been a minute. I've known you for a while.
for sure. Yeah.
But it's been a minute since we've gotten to talk. You have gone from the young man singing in church
Yeah,
to a studio owner. Well, 2 locations.
for sure.
Right?
Yep.
A father, a husband,
Yep.
still a singer.
Still going.
So let's get into it.
Okay.
So let's see. What year was your last project?
Man, 2019. I did the Roll EP. Yeah.
I still have that saved in my Spotify.
Let's go.
And so it has been, what, almost 4 years since you released anything?
Jeez, golly.
And now we have Crash the Party.
Yep, we crashing it.
I'm glad you're back.
Thank you.
I'm
glad to be back.
I'm glad you're back behind the microphone.
Thank you.
Because you have been Mr. Engineer, studio owner for, how old is GrindHaus?
2 years old. Yeah. Yeah, I've been going in. Last 2 years, just really dedicate my energy to the studio, the young icons, and sound engineering. Yeah.
So let's talk about it. Where do we want to go? Where do I want to go first? I don't know. You have so much.
I got a bunch of buckets.
You have so
Yeah.
much. So I think it was singing, releasing projects, and then husband.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yeah.
you became a husband. So let's start. Let's just take the journey,
All right, let's do it.
right? So husband life.
Right, let's go.
How is it?
It's dope. It's dope. It's always, it's always something new under the sun. All right, you're always learning about your partner, your spouse, just learning to love, and really learning a lot about myself in marriage, right? And that's something I think in anybody's situation you're gonna be exposed to new truths about you that you might not even be aware of.
I mean, they do say that your soulmates, we aren't always given one. Sometimes it can be your friends. Sometimes it can be your romantic partner. But your soulmate is supposed to be that mirror.
Yeah.
That shows you who you really are.
Yep.
Even at, that's why they say no one knows someone like their romantic partner, because that is the person who sees you at your absolute worst.
For sure. Absolutely.
So what's the growth been like?
The growth has been dope. There's always like these little seasons, right? Because you got the honeymoon phase, you got the first, all the beautiful butterflies and all that. And then once all of that like kind of boils over and life, right, starts to happen, then, you have to find new ways to keep things fresh and to just continue to build. And so like, I just love love, and I love the grace, right? Like I think like grace is that's such a huge component of life principle to have. And that's really what's been really keeping, I think, me and my wife really strong, is understanding like, okay, I'm here to serve. I'm here to be your partner in life. But at the same time, understanding that, you can't get everything in this world from one person.
Oh, absolutely not.
It's not possible, but you can have grace and understand and empathize and know where your partner is and what they can and can't do, and being okay to understand it. Also, I can't give that person everything too. So just having grace just allows for there to be space of navigating in an authentic way and honoring your purpose and path as a human being. At the same time, still being able to know that you have someone that genuinely supports you, even if they can't necessarily support you directly, if that makes sense. Yeah.
No, it absolutely makes sense. And I think a lot of times people don't, one of my good friends, Nikki, she told me that we oftentimes don't give ourselves the same grace that we give other people. Mm-hmm. And I think that factors into relationships a lot, because we don't give ourselves grace, even enough grace to say, I can't be their everything.
There you go.
And they can't be mine.
Well,
it's okay. I
yeah.
have friends. I can go out with my girls.
There you
like,
go.
I don't have to go out for brunch with you, babe. Like, I don't, that's not your play. That's not you. That's not me or you. We can do brunch, but it's not gonna give me the same fulfillment as brunch with the girls. Because then I get to just like let my hair down. But with you, I still have to be in partner relationship mode.
Right.
To some extent. And so, yeah, you do have to give yourself grace, and especially when you're growing. Yeah. You have to be able to give yourself grace and say, I'm not perfect now.
And on top of that, right, be able to understand that you have to be able to take pride out of the conversation. And that's hard to do in relationships, especially when you're with someone, right? And it's like, yo, I expect this from you, I expect this. But that's pride talking a lot of times, and that pride can overwhelm and overshadow the truth. And a lot of times people are afraid to really dive into deal with the truth of the matter, and that pride it'll mess you up.
Pride keeps people from being weak and vulnerable enough in their relationships to actually get what they want out of it.
There you go.
It's like you're so busy putting, no, like I need X, Y, and Z, and it's like you're not doing that, but it's like, okay, are they the person that's supposed to do that? Do they actually have the capacity to do that? Yep. Are you looking for a fish to climb a tree? Like, you're with this person, you know that they are not an emotionally expressive person. Yeah. So if you can't, if that can't work for you, then you might have to, but it's okay. It doesn't make them a bad person, doesn't make you a bad person. But if you're going to stay, you have to take your pride out of it and say, they're loving me the best way that they can. And that has to be enough. But, because y'all got married and then we hopped into these kids.
Ah, yeah. We definitely...
Come on, Dad. Come on, Dad.
Yeah, I'm that.
It's the next generation of Jet that I'm excited for.
Hey, it's gonna be crazy. Yeah, y'all better get ready. They coming.
These are not going to be some talented kids because they already have their talents. But when they are like full force, it's gonna be something.
I know. Pray for them.
Like between you and your wife,
it's gonna be crazy. Yeah, we've got...
I got your work cut out for you. You're raising them.
We do. We got 3 girls and a boy. Our boy is the oldest. He's about to be 6. And then we've got a 5-year-old. She's about to be 5. She's 4.5. And then a 2-year-old almost. And then a 1-year-old almost. So 4 kids under 5 right now. And it's crazy. Crazy. I don't know. I should have did this like 7, 8 years ago when I was a little bit younger. Yeah. It's crazy though.
I don't think you were ready for that 7, 8 years.
Nah, I probably wasn't ready, but I mean, look, at least they'd be like a lot older now,
I'm gonna let you know I don't know if that's any better because my daughter's 11 and she's about to be 11. Wow. And that is listen.
I hear it gets different when they get
I love that girl. She is every bit of her mama. Yeah. Like that attitude is all me. That she is all me. And parenting me is not for the faint of heart. Yeah. So she's imagine. But it's the sass, it's the creativity, it's looking at all of that personality and person packed into one little present, and you're just like, oh Lord. It doesn't get easier. I remember after the 2 days after my daughter turned 10, we were messaging on Facebook Messenger. Yeah. She was on her tablet, but she needed to tell me something. And I was laughing about it. And she was like, I was like, LOL. And she was like, I don't know why you're laughing when I'm just spitting facts. I was like,
wow.
Young lady.
Jeez.
So this happens when we hit double digits now? Wow. This is double digits now? I can't even be mad at you. I'm like, you weren't even disrespectful. I just wasn't expecting
Yeah, like what do you do with that?
You've never said spitting facts to me ever. Jeez. And now you're just, I'm like, all right, girl.
She tried it. She probably thought like long and hard before she hit send. She
she didn't. It was quick.
Oh my God.
I was like,
you saw the 3 little bubbles. And then all of a sudden it was like,
boop. I was like, all right. We've officially hit double digits, and
jeez.
I guess if it's up, then it's stuck. This is where we at now.
That's where we at. That's where we going.
So how does your son cope with 3 sisters?
3, man. Well, look, the last baby, he was like praying. He was like, yo, I hope I got a little baby brother. Wrong.
So he just mad at y'all now.
Look, we even thought like we went to, get the ultrasound, and like we just knew it was gonna be a boy. She was like, nah, it's a girl. Even up until the day of the delivery, it was like, yo, she was wrong. She was wrong. Wrong. We was wrong. Girl came out. So, but yeah, no, he loves it. He loves his girls, sisters. He plays with them all the time. So, they talk. They talk. The girls talk. So he's just, he talks a lot too, but he's just learning how to navigate. I think he's going to be great though, because I didn't have that growing up. It was just me and my brother. And then my dad got remarried, and we got a stepbrother and a stepsister. So just kind of never really growing up with, girls around. Like, it's going to prepare him for life in a lot different, in a whole different manner than I ever was. So I think he's going to be a lot further in terms of his relationships with women and how to treat them. Because he's got 3 sisters, so it's a great thing.
But dad, husband, do you and your son ever just run away sometimes?
Sometimes, like I took him to the studio this week. I brought him in with me. I was like, let's get away, and I'm imagining more and more that will be happening, especially as the girls grow. When they start getting to the teenage years, it's gonna be interesting. But by that time, he'll be
gonna be so glad to be the oldest. He'll be away. He'll be in
because one is 1 year younger. Yeah. So she's gonna be pretty much.
She's gonna be right up behind him, but there's still enough to where he'll be out of the house by the time it gets.
Yeah. Right, because when he's 18, they'll be like 14 and 13 and 17.
Right, so he'll miss the worst of
hopefully
4 women in one house.
I mean, but 16, 17, he's still getting it.
Yeah, he'll have a little bit of it.
I am stuck.
Yes, you very much so are.
I'm stuck.
Get a Sam's Club or Costco membership so you can get bulk items.
There we go. You already know.
Like, I remember
I
was living with my dad, and I was like, Dad, I'm out of tampons.
Oh my God.
And he was like, I'll be right back. This man literally went to Sam's Club, and I promise you, I am still not out of tampons in this man's house. Okay? That was 15 years ago.
Oh yeah, you good to go.
He was like, I just bought all of them. Oop. My bad. He was like, I bought it all. And I'm like, okay. That's fine. I appreciate it. You know what? You're thoughtful. That's fine. Like, my dad, between me and my mom, he has very much so learned to pick and choose his battles.
There you go. And that's what a good dad does. Pick and choose.
He's like, listen,
That's dope.
You've heard me talk enough. You gonna do what you gonna do.
There you go.
Your daddy got you, but you gonna do what you gonna do. So how has it been raising your baby, this studio, and your nonprofit?
Yeah.
While being such a devoted and attentive father and husband, because you have been pouring your all into so many different
a lot of places. Yeah, I need to sit down somewhere.
Y'all need a vacation.
Yeah, we need a lot of them. It's been it's been a challenge, but that's one thing I heard, like, and I kind of understand too. Like, I heard it from a really wealthy dude, and he was like, there's no such thing as balance. If you're living a balanced life, that means that you're probably not living fully, and because there's never a such thing.
Even when you say that, it just came across as so mediocre. It was like everything is balanced. All right.
Yeah.
But is there joy? Is there growth? Is there happiness?
Exactly.
Is there
because
experience?
Think about it. Like, if you got a scale and you're trying to balance a scale, what you're doing to actually balance it is you're having to watch it constantly, and you're having to make sure nothing goes tips one way more than the other. Right. So you're not really, experiencing everything that one side might have to offer because you're only getting partial out of one, so I look at it like kind of like that. So it's been at first like that was like the goal. Like 3, 4, 5 years ago, I was like, you know what, I gotta find a balance. And I just failed drastically. But what I started to do is understand, okay, you can compartmentalize things and give things their own season and their own time. And so family never, that never leaves. It's always the season. It's always the goal is to spend more quality time and make sure that I'm taking intentional time and moments when I'm with family to be with family, and they feel that.
And I think that's the thing that a lot of people miss out on is like, it's the moments.
Exactly.
Not the full clock, but it's how we use those seconds. Like when I get up in the morning, I make myself a cup of tea, throw in some oat milk creamer. That is a moment that is just for me. It may only last 20 minutes,
right? But
it provides the foundation for the rest of my day.
Exactly.
And we have moments even with our kids, like you said, the intentional moments, because we can get so wrapped up in trying to blend everything so that it's like I'm not missing out on family time because the family is here helping me build this, and it's a family thing, so we're all doing it together. But is it that devoted intentional time where it's like, you know what, we don't need to go to Hawaii for the devoted intentional time. Yo, bro, you want to go to McDonald's real quick?
You remember that time we got this and that, you know what I mean?
And
like
even looking back on it, those are the things I remember most as a kid.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember the entire summer road trip with my dad, but I remember that he bought me the Hercules soundtrack and we were jamming out in the car on cassette tape. It was lit.
Exactly.
Like, I'm not even sure where we were going for that vacation or really what we did, but I remember traveling, listening to that.
Yeah.
And so it's those small moments that we have to focus on.
So I do the same thing even in business, and all the companies try to, give them a little bit of attention and particular detail, like even this room, like just taking my time with certain things and just building it slow. And that's really been the beautiful thing about the whole process over the last few years is just understanding and learning how to build something. And when I say build something, not even from the concept of just physically building it, building something even in your mind enough to actually execute it in the physical form, like that's just it's a wild feeling. And to be able to do it and then understand the process of building, I think that's the biggest thing. People don't know what it takes to be a builder mentality wise. And like people say, oh, okay, I want this and I want that, and then like that's what they go for. But a lot of times they won't even get started. They won't get there because they don't allow themselves to go past the pain part of it. And it's the same part. It's like growing your hair. Like we all have the ugly phase. Like when you're growing your hair, it's that baby fro.
There's
like,
an
what you
awkward point in it somewhere. No matter where you're trying to go with it, there's an awkward.
It's an awkward point based on how your head is shaped. Like it might be when it's like here, or it might be here. Like for me, it's like
before you do that big chop and you didn't know your head was shaped like that.
There you go.
And then you do the big chop and you're like, I didn't know my head looked that much like your head. I didn't.
You didn't know.
I didn't know, but now I know.
And you stuck.
I'm gonna have to ride this out.
You gotta ride it. And so that's the thing with like business and creating and building things is, you got to get past that. Like you're going to make 100 bad songs before you make that one great half decent type of song.
But and so you have to make those bad songs.
You have to. You can't skip that step. Period. Like I run to that stuff
now.
It out. Just do it. The faster you fail, the faster you go through the whack phase, the faster you're going to get to the top. And
a lot of people, I think, especially in our generation, and I think it's been bigger with our generation than it was like with our parents.
Yeah.
Is understanding that there is not a timeline there's not a true timeline to your life. But we all also are recognizing that we didn't start when we should have.
Yeah.
Because we were afraid of that process. And because the process was difficult. And now we're all looking back on it like, well, if only I had done it when I was 16
Yeah.
instead of waiting until I was 36. Well, you didn't have the
Yeah.
knowledge then. But you can look at this younger generation and say,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to give you the tools so that
Right.
you don't do what we did.
What's crazy is I knew the process. I started making music when I was 10.
Right.
I started making beats and everything. But and as I look back, I cheated the process. Like I cheated. Like I was trying to, well, I didn't cheat. I tried to cheat the process of like the next step of where I should have gone with my music and really trying to push and get out there. I tried to just basically base it off of the fact that I had all these years of experience, but I was younger. I didn't really understand everything. But in terms of the music, I was already building. And I didn't know I was building what I was building when I was younger. But like if I had made a few different life choices in there, like I would be at a different place in life. But it's okay though, because now like where I'm at, like I have so much more confidence in the process of things, the process of doing things, building things, creating things. Like there's nothing anybody can tell me that if you tell me I can't do something, guess what? I don't believe it, because I know what I can do.
Outside of the physical structures, well, for this one, you have built these studios by hand. Like,
for sure.
You really can't. No one can tell you that you can't.
Yeah.
And so how does that knowledge and that wisdom and that insight translate to the Young Icons program?
It translates in a big way. Literally, as we're speaking, like there's young icons in the other studios working on music. They do free studio days. We do once a month, and so they're writing songs and recording.
And you said the third Saturday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Third Saturday of every month is the 4 hours free studio time.
4 hours. They get 4 hours of free studio time, and so, but like,
and then you do the lock-ins, the
all of that.
songwriter lock-ins,
Yep,
the
yep.
producer lock-ins, and then like Anyway, Young Icons, and then we'll get to how truly diverse you are, because it's amazing.
Yeah, so I mean, with Young Icons, like that was a passion project. Really, what I wanted to do, 2016, I was like, you know what, I want to try to see if there's some youth, because I was doing a lot of private teaching, private lessons for students, and it's like, let's put them in a studio environment and like teach them what I knew, kind of like how I was like as a kid, just recreate what I experienced as a kid for them. I never was in a recording studio, but I had a home, set up when I was a kid. And so I was like, well, look, let's take 5 kids and let's try this out. So me and my guy Will, we got together and we did it. And so we paid for it out of our own pocket, and it was a success. And we just did it every year since, except for COVID. And so this past summer we did about 40 kids, and brought them into the studios, taught them how to write songs, record some performance-based stuff. And we did a beautiful, iconic youth night uptown as well, which was really great. And so that was kind of like the Grammys, but for the kids. And so just building GrindHaus has just made it a lot easier, because we need a space for them to work in. So financially, obviously, it makes sense. But then also, too, from a just like community aspect, we want to nurture the community here, the music community in Charlotte, and show people that there's some people that are doing things with youth and adults here at the same time. So Young Icons and GrindHaus is a great marriage. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I've loved seeing the growth. I love seeing it. Yeah. So you are a singer.
Yes, ma'am.
You are a husband. You are a father. You are a producer. You are an engineer. You are pretty much a self-contained man when it comes to your music career. Like you can pretty much do it all yourself.
Yeah.
How has the engineering been? Because you've been doing some fun stuff with that.
Yeah,
lately.
I have been. So what's crazy is, so last year, well, first of all, I opened up for Anthony 2010. This is like 2-3 months after my first album, and at the Fillmore, and it was dope. And just started building a relationship with their organization for years, and never doing anything else that big again, but just being around their musicians. My whole band, like they play for Anthony, and or some of them do. And fast forward to last year when we opened the studio. You talk about creating a space. Anthony's team reached out because it's during a pandemic. Everybody's doing the Zoom, virtual concerts. So we need a space. And so this was like in February. We opened in January. And they're like, well, we need to do this, and it's going to be premiered by the White House. And so, like, the White House booked Anthony to do a virtual concert. And so they shot that in our studio. That's the first big thing we did, and that was with Anthony. I engineered that, too. And so they did, like, a 30-minute set, and we brought in film crews, did it real nice. And from there, just started really building, nurturing that relationship. And then I just come around the shows and just making myself known. And then they hired me to do backline on the tour with Maxwell, Anthony, and Joe. And so backline is like basically.
That is some music.
Yeah, man. So backline is like kind of like it really is like an entry level position. I don't really do well working for people. Because I do my own shit, you know. And so I didn't really need it. I didn't even need it financially. It was just more so of the experience and getting out and meeting people in the industry and being a part of something on, I guess, in a pro level, just having my hands in the door. So like, I kind of got into it from that. Like that was the start. So we went on tour, did backline, basically just setting up equipment for the musicians. That simple. Like this is like, I don't think you understand. Like this is like a low level, like humbling. Look, like this is like me going to work at FedEx. And I'm doing this. This is like literally less than 2 years ago. Like I chose to go out on the road with them doing like backline. But I did it. I met some great people. I met a lot of great people, promoters and everything. And the show was 25 dates on this tour. Last 4 shows of the Maxwell tour, Maxwell catches COVID. All right, check this out. Maxwell catches COVID. And, you know, these are arena tours or whatever. So this is like this is right after the pandemic, though, right? And so, you know, we can still do shows. But he can't, so they canceled. They pushed the 2 shows back. They pushed them back like for like 3 weeks, and then there was 2 more shows they left as regular. But these were they pushed it back. It was an LA show and an Oakland show. Ooh. So they hired me. Anthony's team hired me because they were like, well, we know that he's capable of doing sound. He's capable of, if Teaspoon on keys goes down, I could play the song, like play the piano. Right. I can do a bunch of different things. Oh, and then also too, I can, I can run tracks. So because they moved the dates back, the sound man for Anthony couldn't do it because he already had other engagements. So who they call? They called me. So here I am.
Humility often puts us where we need to be anyway.
What? Yo, check this out. So, and it's more to the backstory, but like he already kind of wasn't feeling me because like during practices before we went on tour, like we had like 5-day rehearsals and, you know, there was some stuff with sound. Like I was asking him questions. He would kind of get upset about certain things. And, you know, it was definitely an energy there. He didn't want to feel like I was taking his job, but they didn't hire me to take his job. Like I kept telling him like, bro, I'm not here to, you know, step. I'm not here for that.
I'm here to do bass level stuff.
I'm here to do backline. That's it. Well, he couldn't do those 2 dates, Oakland and LA. So they was like, Jay, we need you to do sound. I'm like, all right, I guess so. Look, I don't even know if they know this, but I never used the live mixing boards. I never used those a day in my life.
Lie on your resume.
I literally, no. So what's crazy is, the good thing, you talk about building relationships throughout the tour, I was really building with Maxwell sound guy. And he was showing me some stuff on the side. Like some of the shows I would go out there, or like during sound checks and early in the day, I would go sit with him and be like, yo, so what's this, what's that? Boom, boom, boom. I learned. So we get to LA and I'm like, I was like, Zach, bro, I'm here. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm doing sound. He was like, oh, word? I was like, yeah, I'm doing sound. And so he helps me set everything up, turn the board on, shows me where this and that's at. Cause like, I gotta do it. You know what I'm saying? So I go through sound check and I'm like, phew, I got through it. Like this is a board I never used. Like I did use it like one time during rehearsals, but like it ain't like the studio boards I got. Right. And so the show starts. Well, right before the show starts, what's crazy is Joe's sound guy, he had been off a tour. He had left to go out with Kim. Oh. So our sound guy he was getting paid to do Joe and Anthony. So I had to do sound for Joe and Anthony. Yeah, completely different files on a new board in L.A. In L.A. So after this,
that's a big one.
You talk about
that's pressure.
What?
That is
what?
That's
this is a spot called the Forum. Like this is L.A.
Yes.
This is the Forum. Like Kendrick, everybody's done it, right? And so I get up there, shaking in my boots. You know, the show starts. I get through it. There were some things, and Joe said I wasn't comfortable because I don't know his show like that. I know Anthony's show because that's, you know, I'm on the stage with him every night or whatever. And so, you know, we get to Anthony's show, and once it starts, I'm good. And we flowing, I'm automating, I'm doing my thing as best I can with a little bit of knowledge. My biggest thing is let me just get clarity. I'm about clarity. When I mix records in the studio, I just want to hear everything, and I want it to be precise. So when I'm mixing live, I'm going for the, you know, off bat, let's get clarity. Anything else is just icing. Effects, delays, reverbs, that's icing. And so I wasn't worried about all that mess. And so at the end of the show, they whole camp was like, yo, this what we've been looking for. I was like, oh my God. I was like, now this dude's gonna feel like I stole his job. So they thought it was no, but see, like even Anthony came up, they was like, wow. Like they was like, wow. They was like, we wish we had this the whole tour. The whole tour. I'm like, yo, I don't even really know this board. It could be better. I was like, it really can be better if I knew this board.
I didn't mean, but that still goes to say.
It's crazy.
The fact that you were like, I could have done better. And it's like, and they were already that impressed.
I know. So I was kind of like, I was like, so like Anthony's, you know, personal assistant, he was like, just imagine when he get like 20 shows under his belt. You know, because it just takes the reps.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I did the LA show. They was hype. That's how I really got into the sound engineering and or in terms of live. And then the next night we did, or 2 nights later, we did Oakland. They was like, we're going to see if this is real or not. They didn't believe it was real.
Like it's
I didn't believe it was. I was like, yo, I got lucky, dog. I was like, no.
Will lightning strike
I was like,
twice?
yo. I was like, will it strike twice?
And it did.
It did.
It did.
It did. That was like, yo, it's even better. I was like, y'all gassing me. Stop gassing me.
Well, I mean, because you had the sound check, you had the actual show, and then you had sound check.
Yeah.
And so by the time that second show was ready, the reps are there, the knowledge is there, you have a better understanding of their sets. Like,
yeah. So, yeah, after that, they was like, yeah. So the last 2 shows were back on the regular schedule. And he was, you know, good to come back. So he flew down. Those were Miami and Tampa. And he did the sound checks. And they was like, we want Jason to do the sound tonight. So it was just like, it was awkward. It was awkward. But, yeah, so that's how my sound engineering, shit happens.
And then we had to reschedule this because...
And
you
then
got
I went
Dreamville.
out. Yeah, I did this Dreamville joint out there. It wasn't like a super live sound thing, but it was more of like an actual studio installation they did, which was dope. So it was like people came in and they recorded. Luke came through. A bunch of people came through. Yeah, it was dope. And then I got the Erica gig. So, but like that's what I'm saying. Like it's all like this industry is all about networking, which is why I went out, because one of the shows we did when Anthony was in Baltimore. And Erica was on that bill headlining, but I met her sound guy, and so we connected and we stayed in touch.
Like, there's really no better way to network than working.
There you go.
Especially
if you do a good job.
Yeah.
If you do a good job.
Then it's like, oh, you have a good personality, I vibe with you, and you're good at what you do, and I get to see you in action.
Well, the crazy thing was I had a rough night in Baltimore though, because that show they had me on like an old board and it just wasn't doing it for me. But I was surprised that he even wanted to connect because it wasn't my best work, but we connected though.
I mean, but when you're good, even your best, like we tend to judge ourselves more harshly.
For sure.
And so they probably already know that the board is older, so they're like, well, we can do that with that.
That part.
When we get him the good shit, he'll be right.
There we go.
So. Let's see. we have talked about literally everything you do. So Crash the Party is out now.
Yes.
When's the next single dropping?
Man, I'm looking to drop something by the end of the summer. I got some, if not sooner. I got more stuff. I got like a bunch of music.
And this is location 2. This is GrindHaus Studio 2.
Yep.
When are we expecting this to be done? Because
sometime
this
in
is
June,
an
mid-June.
active scene.
Yeah, we in here right now.
Right.
Yeah, mid-June. Yeah, mid-June.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be lit.
Because
So
I know you really more so have some finishing touches to put on it.
for sure. Yeah, just doing sound panels, hanging the last 3 sound panels in the other studio room. Upstairs is gonna be dope. We got a whole upstairs suite, some studios up there. Ooh. And content room, got to hang the backdrop. So little things like that. And then we, Young Icons, we're getting sponsored by IKEA. So IKEA is outfitting our whole facility. So it's pretty dope.
That's going to be super
It's going to be crazy.
And so when is the album coming?
Nah, that I don't even know. But it's coming, though. It's coming. I do have an album ready. I might drop something soon. We'll see.
Because, like, I've been waiting. Yes, it's been, yes, the EP was 2019, but your last full album
it's coming.
Was before then.
Yeah,
and so I'm like, then. I've been playing old Jason Jett for years.
It's time for the new. Nah, we about to.
I need I need an album from this new Jason.
Yeah, you need the new
iteration.
Stuff. Yeah, it's fire too.
What do you want your final thought to be before we wrap up?
Oh man, just perspective. That's my word of the year. Perspective. It's all in how you look at things, and if you choose to look at yourself from the future version of yourself, you'll go much farther than you will if you think about where you're at now. And so I make a lot of decisions in my life right now based on that Jason. That's a different Jason sometimes. So if that Jason is iconic enough, then that's where I want to think from the most iconic version of myself. And that's how I'm able to weed out a lot of mess in my life.
Well, I appreciate it.
No doubt. Thank you.
I'm so glad that we got to do this.
The right timing for everything.
Right. We are, girl, I've known you since I was, 21?
Crazy. Time flies.
And now we're both like kids doing things.
Yeah,
and
man.
It's like.
Lifing. We're
I'm
lifing.
Looking up like, who is this grown man?
Yeah.
Like,
we grown.
I mean, yes, we were 21, but even looking at 34, looking back at 21, like.
Crazy.
I wasn't as grown as I thought I was.
Nah, no. Man, I'd be looking, I'm like, I definitely wasn't making iconic decisions back then.
That wasn't.
No iconic decisions was being made.
I look back and I'm like, that wasn't your best work, girl, but you know what? You tried.
You tried.
You did what you could with what you had.
Man, I wish somebody had to set me down. I was like, you sure you don't want to think about that again, brother?
Listen, the worst part was I was so bullheaded. It was like.
It'd be like that.
People be like, no, is that really a good decision? Yes. You sure? Because it doesn't seem like it. I have faith in this. Why? Why?
Yeah, hey.
I'm just sure it'll work out.
Look.
And, everything gets you to where you're supposed to be.
Yeah. And some if you listen.
Right. And if God has it for you, it is for you, and all of your past will lead you to it. It's just you make it as hard as it's going to be.
There you go.
A lot of times. And it is about that perspective.
Yeah, for sure.
It's seeing things like
perspective, grace. You have those two things, you winning. Most people don't even have those two things.
I think one of my big things is humility now.
That's dope.
Because I think people don't understand humility.
That's deep.
It's about, humility isn't about putting someone in their place. Humility, it's not about making yourself seem less than. But it's saying that I am not the smartest person in the room, and that's okay. Because it gives me space to grow, and it gives me space to learn.
There you go.
And so I think humility, but definitely grace and perspective. Like, those have been my lessons for the last couple years.
Dope. I'm telling you. I'm about to start teaching my son. Like, look, dude, you don't know everything. Hard-headed little boy. Think he know. He like, I always used to be the same way. Right. I'm like, look, sit down. I'm going to teach you a lesson. Slow down.
But I
Take it all in.
think one of the biggest things I learned looking back on my life was I learned better in practice than in being told. So it's like if I'm doing
Most
it,
people do.
and it's like, hey, you might not want to go that fast while you driving. It's like, okay, well,
it's funny.
Now, tell me now.
It's funny because I used to be the same way. I can very easily calibrate myself, but I've learned to calibrate myself to say, you know what? Let's use some wisdom. And like, let's not, I don't need to go through any more tough experiences because I don't have time for that. Right. So like,
and I don't want my kids going through tough experiences.
Yeah. And it's already enough. Like when you're building something, it's already enough to have to go through the, the rough patches. But if someone's advising me on things now, I'm like, okay, I hear you. Well, I'll read a book and I'm like, okay, we're going to do this.
I've learned to pause.
Yeah.
I've learned to pause and sit.
There you go.
And be like, you know
That's
what?
it.
Let's
Take
make
your
this
time.
make sense.
There you go. I don't like the rushing and nothing. No, I'll be slow footing everything now.
But I think we have hit our time.
Let's do it.
And so I think this is the end of
Great
episode
stuff.
5. Feed the Body with Jason Jett
We
at
here.
GrindHaus Studios.
Boom, boom.
In the future completed content room.
There it is. It's coming.